I'm thrilled to welcome you to this exciting webinar on how AI can revolutionize the way you create resumes and cover letters. Whether you're just starting your job search or looking to make a career change, today's session is designed to provide you with valuable insights and practical tools to enhance your job application process. We are currently recording this webinar to ensure accessibility for all participants. You can also enable closed captioning via browser. We recommend using Google Chrome, where you can click on the three dots at the upper right-hand corner, click on Settings, and then Accessibility. You can refer to the screenshot in the presentation and reference a breakdown of instructions on how to access closed captioning on different browsers in the content section to your right, or reach out to one of our Career Circle employees in the tech support booth in the lobby to assist you. All of the resources that we discussed today and more can be located on the Content tab near the People and Discussion feed to your right. All resources in the recording will be emailed to you after the event. Please make sure to watch until the end, as our amazing panelists have a wealth of knowledge to share. And as you can see here, please feel free to scan our QR code. We are always looking for ways to improve. We absolutely want to be able to hear from you. You can open it on your phone and share your feedback with us. If you miss it, no worries. We'll send the survey in our post-event email too. But if you want to give us your thoughts during the event, we'd love to hear from you. Now, with that being said, I've said all of those wonderful things and you don't know who I am. My name is Brittany Knowles. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I currently work as the Learning and Development Specialist for Career Circle. Okay, I have braided natural hair. My eye color is brown, and I'm wearing wide-brimmed clear glasses with a smile. And as you can see, the man of the hour is Noah. Noah, can you please introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Thank you, Brittany. So my name is Noah Killup. I'm a client engagement manager here at Career Circle. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I have brown hair, brown eyes. I'm wearing a blue cardigan and currently sitting right outside of Fort Worth, Texas. Perfect. Excellent. So as we'll progress here, we're going to go ahead and start with really just a few guidelines for your resume and telling your story here. So I think we'll work through these bullet points one by one, and I think it's going to differentiate a little bit with where you're at in your professional journey. So just starting with experience, education, and skills, this should always be listed within your resume. And depending on where you're at in your professional career, if it's more entry level and just joining the workforce, I think it'd be beneficial to really have kind of the education or upskilling journey and then followed by your experience versus your more mid-level or senior career. I think it's really relevant to have your experience listed and then it will funnel into your education and skills. Next bullet point here, really talking about the length of your resume. So 2-page resume is ideal, and that's for 10 plus years of experience. Say a good rule of thumb is always having for every 5 years of experience, kind of trying to keep that to 1 page on your resume. And a good note here, professional email address. I think this is self-explanatory. If you're still utilizing the same email that maybe when MySpace was around, it could be a good chance to incorporate a new professional email address. Next bullet point, punctuation and grammar. This is a big piece. As you see over here, the recruiters really take an average of 7.4 seconds to look at your resume. So I think it's really important that we keep everything succinct, in line, and concise with the entirety of the resume. And we're talking about font, bullet size, all of the different formatting for your resume. Definitely encourage just having those in unison for your entirety of the resume. And then next piece, the experience section in chronological order. I do come across this a lot where individuals are having their most recent experience at the bottom of their resume, which again, really encourage you having your most relevant experience there at the top for that recruiter to see, where you've been, what you've done. Just as a unique example, yesterday came across an individual who their experience for the opportunity was at the very bottom, And if that recruiter takes that 7.4 seconds and doesn't make it all the way to that experience, then you may be bypassed. So good rule of thumb is just have all of your experience in your chronological order. And then lastly, please do not add personal information to your resume. A few of these don'ts would include a personal picture, information about, maybe children or um, marital status, anything that we can do to mitigate, really, really mitigate biased hiring decisions is the key, and why to avoid that personal information on your resume. All right, so moving forward, we're going to go through some best practices when using AI prompts. And kind of starting first is being specific. So choosing prompts that are very specific to the role you are applying for. We will provide some resources in the content of these specific examples for these prompts that we're utilizing. But a good example, AI helped me write a resume for specific job title, position at company, and include bullet point achievements that show impact and metrics. So really just being as specific as possible to help AI tailor your resume for that specific job opportunity is going to be crucial here, and getting the most out of the AI prompts. Customizing those AI prompts, use the prompts as a guide to adapt them to your own experience and achievements. This next piece I think is really important as well. Using multiple prompts, trying new things, trying some different verbiage. That way you're able to maybe pull in 3 different prompts for the same resume and same opportunity. And then you're allowed to, really pick and pull from those responses, helping you craft the most aligned resume for that relevant opportunity. Um, huge piece here, editing and proofreading the AI prompted resume. As you know, just like any other writing, really important to edit and proofread anything generated by AI before submitting. You should be able to speak to every bullet point on your resume if asked about it in an interview. So again, I kind of look at this as a foundation for tailoring your resume, and then you're able to come in here and provide your perspective and your own creativity behind these AI prompts. And then lastly, kind of perfect segue is just using these AI prompts as a supplement and not a replacement. While AI can be a helpful tool for job applicants in their search, it shouldn't replace your own creativity and perspective. Perfect. In this next slide, it's really going to stand as a high-level overview of all the topics we will discuss throughout the presentation. Again, just wanted to signal there will be specific prompt examples later in the presentation, and those prompt examples can be found in the contents under the prompt worksheet, again, under the content tab for your reference. But we will be focusing on, understanding and analyzing job descriptions, optimizing your resume with specific keywords from that job description, tailoring your resume for each job, and then crafting a compelling cover letter. So diving in more to the nitty gritty here, analyzing job descriptions to land your dream job, identify required skills and qualifications. This is going to be something that we really want to incorporate when utilizing AI. So if we have, we're utilizing whichever AI you would like to use, finding those hard skills within that specific job description, whether it be hardware troubleshooting, networking protocols, understanding of various operating systems, those hard skills are going to be really crucial to include in your prompt to AI to incorporate that into your resume. Same with soft skills or power skills. I think these are, um, maybe undervalued at some point. Obviously, if they're coming in for a technical environment, those hard skills are going to be crucial. But I believe your soft skills, whether it be collaborative, working in a team environment, ability to, take feedback, these soft skills are really important as well. And being able to incorporate that in the AI prompt to then utilize that in your resume, also going to be really important. And then if we're talking about your experience level, if these come for an opportunity that is asking for 3 to 5 years of experience, whenever we're prompting AI, be specific in falling back to list the last 10 years of my work experience, again, highlighting those hard skills, soft skills, and that experience level. The next piece here, understanding companies' needs and cultures, I think is always an important piece. Something I always, tell candidates is understand who you are applying for and understand what you are applying to. So I always like to say, hey, take 5 to 10 minutes, research the company, find those core value drivers that align to you as a human, and be able to pull those out. And list within the specific resume for that specific job. Some of those may be leadership, inclusion, anything that really aligns to you as a human. I think is something to pull out and really be able to include within your resume. Same job responsibilities. This is a great way for you to understand the job responsibilities listed within that specific job description, be able to tie in your relevant experience to that and prompt AI to then incorporate that into your new resume. If you, I want to say don't disqualify yourself if you don't hit all of those responsibilities. A lot of companies these days are looking for aptitude for success. So ensuring that you're, really pulling in where you've seen that experience and where you've seen success. And then same with industry keywords. We can take, a marketing, for example, and SEO or search engine optimization, just really ensuring that these industry keywords are incorporated somewhere within your resume and then prompting AI to assist you in creating the industry keywords within your resume. Perfect. So moving on to optimize your resume with keywords. So AI tools can be extremely helpful in ensuring that your resume is efficiently filtered through the applicant tracking system or ATS. Applicant tracking system is a software for recruiters and employers to track candidates throughout the recruiting and hiring process. Um, so a big kind of indication that maybe you are not having or incorporating these keywords if you're applying to a role and within 2 minutes catching an auto rejection email. This could absolutely be, really the lack of those keywords being identified on your resume. And that's why it's really important to, when prompting AI, to incorporate these keywords, whether it's hardware troubleshooting, search engine optimization, whatever those keywords from that job description are telling you. Really important to then incorporate this into your resume. That way, you're able to bypass the applicant tracking system and have a chance to meet with a recruiter there. And then, so keyword integration, incorporate keywords from the job description, again, the resume to pass through the applicant tracking system. And then natural flow, just really making sure that those keywords are within your resume in a organic, I would say organic nature, that it flows organically, whether it be in your top skills. I would also encourage these being within your relevant experience as well, where you utilize search engine optimization, the quantifiable metrics behind that. But I think these two pieces are extremely important for bypassing the applicant tracking system. Perfect. So we'll go through a few examples of, really creating your resume prompts. And again, just want to ensure that you will be able to fall back to the prompt worksheet under the content tab, which provides specific prompts on creating and tailoring your resume, as well as creating a resume. But when we're, writing a resume and really prompting AI to do so, I want to be, focus on being very specific. So AI, write a resume based on specific title, position at company, and include bullet points, achievements that shows impact and metrics. Copy paste the job description. And then you'll notice that we can then elaborate even further on this to, hey, let's write a tailored resume for, let's say, IT support role at Google, include my professional summary, my past 10 years of work experience, and then 3 to 5 bullet points per role, and incorporate the most important keywords from the job description in those achievements. So again, this is a big lift that really we're putting every bit of specific information into that AI prompt to help incorporate everything that you're needing to, again, create a tailored resume for this specific opportunity. And then lastly, you'll see the last example here. So based on the job description for specific title at company, write a resume for my past X years of work experience with 3 to 5 bullet points per role that include metrics and the most important 10 keywords from the job description. And this is really falling back to try different things, try different prompts to see what type of response we're getting and being able to pick and pull and incorporate that into our resume. I saw something come across LinkedIn here. If you're asking, so what after a bullet point, then I think we really need to dive in and truly provide those quantifiable metrics to showcase your value, your impact, and what type of contributor you can be to the organization. It doesn't need to be super lengthy, 10 bullet points. Brittany, I noticed you come off mute. Was there a question?
I was waiting for you to finish. Please excuse me.
No, you're fine. No problem at all. No, I think, but again, these are great examples and how you're able to truly build off these prompts with starting with something maybe a little more general and then really able to really beef this up to incorporate, every bit of information you would need said to specific job description. But yeah, I'll pause there, Brittany, if you want to hop in.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Noah. You're the best. I see that we have a few questions that are coming in. I want to take a pause for the cause and remind everyone you all, Noah is a subject area expert. So at no other time are you going to be able to have his undivided attention to be able to ask some questions that are really going to be beneficial to you on your employment journey. So with that being said, there were a few that came through that I thought, Noah, you might want to give your insight and feedback on. Specifically, I see someone said, so basically, I have to change my resume every time I apply for a job, question mark. What do you think about that one?
I know that sounds like a big lift. I do think it's incredibly important to tailor your resume for a specific job title. In my opinion, I would have a foundational resume. Again, coming from maybe all of your experience, whether you've transitioned careers or maybe it's been in IT your entire life, I would have a foundational resume that you can utilize. But yes, per not every job title. I think if it falls in certain skill sets, backgrounds, industries, then we're tailoring minuscule things to really indicate that you took the time, maybe in your professional summary to say that I'm excited for this position at Microsoft. So I know it seems like a rather large lift, but I do believe those are differentiators between you and another candidate here, and being able to tailor your resume. Again, if it's an IT support role for Google and then an IT support role for Microsoft, I don't I truly don't believe that you're going to have to come in and reevaluate your resume and start from scratch. I think that would be a quick, I'm excited for this role at said company. But I would encourage absolutely having like 2 to 3 different resumes for the specific industry that you are applying to. But wonderful question.
Have another question, and we're going to put this disclaimer out here. Whatever your response is for this question, technology is always evolving. And so we're going to give a few examples possibly for this question. But the question specifically was, what is the best AI to utilize? And so, Noah, do you have an opinion about that?
Goodness. Well, here at Career Circle, we utilize Microsoft Copilot a lot. It's been really beneficial. I've never come into any pain points, barriers where it isn't able to provide that information outside of trivia. Sometimes Microsoft Copilot is not the best at answering some Trivia Tuesday questions for our stand-ups. I really would encourage, playing with the different AIs and really see what works best for you. I think it is going to be a personal preference on speed to fill and how quick they are getting those responses. But I would encourage absolutely just, trying the different sources and see what works best for you.
could not agree more. And I see that Wanda is in agreement with you about the importance of foundational resumes and the ability to tailor them to different jobs. So I am not going to interrupt you any longer. I'm going to let you get back in, but I want to make sure that I am reiterating. Please use this opportunity to ask as many questions as possible. We're going to try our best to get to all of them as time permits. Alrighty, Noah, back to you.
Thanks, Brittany. You're more than welcome to interrupt. Love to, again, give my completely transparent responses for these questions. I think they're warranted. It's something we face on a daily. So please continue to keep them coming. And Jess, I think we can, perfect, you're on top of it. Again, just a perfect segue, tailoring your resume for each job. It is recommended to have several resumes tailored for each specific type of job. While it's always best to stay focused in your job search to avoid creating multiple documents, having at least 2 to 3 resumes that are tailored for specific job applications is a good idea. And I think once we have this initial lift, then we're really there and fine tuning very minuscule details, and it's not going to feel like such an overwhelming feat to recreate. And I don't think we're recreating the wheel here, but fine tuning as we progress throughout our professional career. And again, this will increase your chances of getting noticed by potential employers and landing your dream job. In the end, the content can be pretty similar, but the keywords will vary enough to work well with ATS, right? So if this is something kind of falling back to that IT support versus a data center technician, that IT support is going to be, a lot more customer centric, and the ability to communicate effectively, all while having that foundational knowledge of, I'd say, primary troubleshooting versus a center technician is very hands-on, laying copper, pulling racks and stacks. So I think per job, it's really important again to focus on those hard skills that they're looking for and be able to incorporate that utilizing AI to tailor that resume for the specific job title. And if you're a jack of Jill of all trades and your project management has some different scopes, has some marketing scope, I would again have that foundational resume where you're able to tailor for that specific skill set, job title, or industry. And then lastly, AI enables the creation of dynamic resumes and content suggestions based on the industry and role you are targeting. So I really just get in there, and it's pretty mind blowing how quick and efficient that these various AI tools are. And I think it takes a lot of that heavy lift before going into Microsoft Word and formatting an entire new resume and creating it from scratch. Perfect. So moving on to tailoring your resume prompts. And we do we perfect. Again, just want to make sure that y'all can fall back to this at any time within the content tab that provides specific prompts on creating and tailoring resumes. But tailor my resume to this job description for, again, specific job title, position at company, and then copy paste your current resume. And that's going to enable them to incorporate both of these together. So I think, we started out with creating a resume from scratch, and now you're able to say, hey, here is my current resume. Please tailor this to, again, specific job title at said company, and then copy paste your resume and the job description in there. Same example of another prompt here. Using the resume and job description below, showcase 10 relevant skills that I should highlight. Copy paste your current resume and job description. Again, just pulling in, really we're focusing on those relevant skills. And then lastly, here's my current resume. How would you rewrite it if you were applying to title role at company? And then it definitely would encourage this last piece of including metrics and achievements. I think it's such a defining factor when we're coming into what candidate is moving forward. If we're able to demonstrate what type of actionable impact you had with that organization, and if you have difficulty coming up with those, one, anytime you're in your current role, I would say highlight those big wins where you're seeing that success and kind of keep them in that smile sheet, if you will. But I would absolutely just really encourage including the metrics and achievements for for the job description. Any questions there?
That you said, do you have any questions? We have a ton. Y'all have heeded what I asked. And so Miguel actually has a really good one. Would this be a good prompt given, and there's a bracket, copy paste my resume, refine my resume based on bracket title, position at bracket company, and include bullet point achievements that show impact and metrics?
Absolutely. And again, I don't think it's going to be I don't think it's going to be a one size fits all. And I really think that that's why trying and trying different things is going to come into that. But absolutely, Miguel, I think that would be a solid starting point. And then from there, based on that response, I think you're able to jump in and fine tune even further to elaborate if we're looking for more quantifiable metrics or hard skills that maybe were missed in that job description that are not in your resume. So I think I like to think of it as building blocks, and we kind of start here at a foundation, and then we're really able to, once we practice with these tools, I think it's, truly able to, um, one, learning is a part of it, but truly just able to, get every bit of information that you would be needing within those prompts, and then from there, picking and pulling what is most relevant. Wonderful question, though.
Absolutely. I'm getting a few general resume questions. Specifically, someone asked, how do you add a cover letter to an application that doesn't have a section for it?
That's a great question. My in my personal opinion, if they're not asking for a cover letter, I probably would not waste the time. This might come across as maybe a little hasty, but if they're not requesting that, and as you notice, a recruiter takes 7.6 seconds to review a resume. Um, if they're not asking for it, I'd maybe be surprised if they reviewed that cover letter. So I do see opportunities. There are dwindling where they do require that cover letter. If you're really, really interested in kind of showcasing, who you are on the front end, if you have any opportunity to know who you're speaking with, i.e., a recruiter or a hiring manager, I would really encourage kind of building that personal connection via LinkedIn or whatever channel you may have, reaching out to them, showing gratitude for the opportunity to connect with them on a certain day regarding said position. And then you're really able to start divulging into who you are and why you're excited about the opportunity. I did hope I answered the questions, and it was really falling to if it doesn't have an opportunity to include a cover letter, how do I do so? Um, I think it's within. I'd be a little cautious of submitting that through an applicant tracking system as well when applying, because it could absolutely flag that cover letter as not having the specific keywords or skills right there on the front end, and then potentially kind of having a barrier there as well. But Brittany, let me know if I am answering that correctly.
An exceptional job answering that question 100%. And continue to see more questions coming in, not necessarily specific to this slide. So we may put it to the QA in a few, but please continue.
Love that. Appreciate all the questions, all the engagement. Moving forward, avoiding pitfalls of resume writing with AI. So I think a really important piece here. Keep in mind, AI cannot do everything for you. For any of the AI, you still need to create specific prompt requests that will help you customize each part of your resume. It's important to be as specific as possible, include enough context for the prompt, and then again, trying different prompts and mix and match to find what works best for you. And I know we've alluded to this a few times, but definitely being specific, including enough context in that prompt, not just, hey, could you polish this resume? Because they're going to kick back something that is generated and not tailored towards that specific opportunity. And I think that's the crucial piece for AI, is being able to take the work you've done on the front end to create a wonderful resume and be able to tie that in directly to this opportunity. And then trying different prompts. I think if you're not receiving the kickback or the response you're looking for, try adding in different keywords, different different keyword skills that really need to be pulled in. Just it's really kind of the wash, rinse, repeat, and trying again to find exactly what you're looking for, for the specific prompt. And then utilize the same tools to create a model cover letter in case some jobs request it, or prepare a letter of interest to submit to those companies that you're most interested in joining. In a competitive job market, leveraging AI in resume writing is a strategic move that can give you a significant edge. Remember, AI is a tool to enhance your efforts, not replace them. I think at the end of the day, we're all humans behind these resumes, and it's just incredibly important to showcase your authentic self behind it, and be able to provide that human context behind it. So I definitely want to encourage you to utilize AI in its glory. But at the end of the day, we don't want to come across as robotic. We still want to be humans at the end of the day. So that's just some really final piece there is something to lean on and create that foundation. But from there, guiding it to where we want to be in direct alignment to the opportunity at hand. Perfect. And kind of diving into creating your cover letter prompts. I think this one is really where we're going to have to dive into the fine details of what prompts we're really using and what type of response we're getting back. So summarize the hard and soft skills on my resume and write a single short paragraph on how my background and qualifications are a perfect fit for the, again, job title, copy paste the current resume and job description. Rewrite this cover letter to align my background with job skills listed in the description. Again, copy paste resume and job description. And then please write this cover letter in a way that is more compelling for a recruiter or hiring manager based on my skills and background in less than 200 words. I think the length of this as well is really important to focus on, given it's a very time is of the essence. So it's really important that whatever information, be a cover letter or a resume, that it's something that is digestible on the other side. So really trying to keep it short. If they have a character limit, really focusing on that as well. Um, and then rereading these cover letters to make sure that it speaks true to you. I think it is such an important piece with AI and how beneficial it can be, but we still want it to be representing Noah Killup at the end of the day. Perfect. And then for our final reflection, AI, your partner in success. Um, using AI to help with your resume can be a huge time saver, but it shouldn't be a substitute. And absolutely is going to alleviate a lot of that front end lift, but not as a substitute for you and what type of achievements and impact you make. Always double check and edit any content generated by AI before submitting it. We never want to get in a situation where we didn't proofread or take the time to really go back and revisit what was, created by AI, and all of a sudden we have a bullet point discussing this type of skill set or this type of impact, and then we're kind of caught with, our hands under us and not really able to articulate back to that hiring manager. And then lastly, think of AI as a tool for your job search, not a replacement, and you'll be well on your way to landing your dream job.
This is the time. This is the time, everyone, to get your questions in. And we have so many amazing questions coming in. All right. And so, going to give you a two shakes of a lamb's tail to get those questions in. I'm seeing them coming in. Come through, come through. Let's go to Blake. What if the AI you are using does not allow you to add the amount of characters to copy paste resume and job descriptions and such into it? Should we find a different one?
So I'm going to say short answer, yes. If it's not able to, and I've ran into some character limits as well. I would, I would absolutely just encourage kind of finding what AI resource is going to going to provide you with the information you need and be able to really create the resume that you're looking for. I know that a majority of them do have some sort of character limit. So I would maybe in that prompt response ensuring and including that, keeping below a certain character limit. So, to answer your question, I definitely just play around with a few and kind of find what works well for you and what serves you.
And I saw this question more than once. And so I'm going to ask this question next. For those that are mid career, 40 years or older, I have been told that you shouldn't put more than 10 years of job history on your resume or anything that indicates how old you are. Case in point, college graduation, dates, etc. What is your take on how to handle this?
Such a wonderful question, and I definitely want to. It's delicate. It's a delicate situation, and biases are out there, and it definitely happens whether we like to believe it or not. I I do think removing if you've graduated and you have a degree, I don't think it's necessary to have when you graduated because the point behind it is that you completed said degree and you have degrees. So um, let's say if you graduated college 20 years ago, again, fantastic in the midst of your career. I don't think it's necessary to have that graduation date, and it's going to help mitigate those biases. Um, for the first part of the question, goodness, I'm blanking now. I went into oh yes, for the amount of experience through your resume. In my opinion, I'd say like 10 years is a good starting point. If you've been with the same company for 10 years, again, speaks to your tenure, which is obviously a great thing. If you wanted to divulge an additional 5 years, but I think going back to 2015, if we're right here in 2025, I think that should provide enough relevant experience to what role you are pursuing, along with your education, upskilling journeys. If we're transitioning careers, I think it's very possible to have the question, well, what if you started in tech and you've transitioned into a project management role, but you're looking to get back into this IT support. I absolutely think there are some, other factors, but I would not encourage having 25 years of work experience on that, again, just to mitigate those hiring biases, in my opinion, and it's something that we can is in our control at that point.
I have a question for a candidate with 1 to 2 years of recommend one resumes. What's the priority here to highlight experience or projects?
Yeah, 1 to 2 years experience. Uh, you know, Without seeing kind of a resume, maybe you have education, maybe just graduated or upskilling certificates. I think your project scope is extremely relevant, and I want you to lean on that. Lean on the experience, and because that is your experience. You took the time to complete this project in said industry, whether it be cybersecurity or any project scopes, any various upskilling journey that you had. But for being early on in your career, if let's say you just graduated, have your project scope, I would have name, summary or professional summary, education, project scope, and then I would probably have your experience just to showcase that you have held a job. It might not be relevant. I think it takes time to get into our true career field. So that would be my best take on it, is kind of early career. I always start like education, that could be upskilling journey or undergrad. Project scopes really, really relevant if that's the type of job we're applying to. I think is going to make most sense. And then I would follow it up with your experience. But another great question.
I have gotten like three separate questions regarding a gap in experience. One specifically is from an individual that took time away due to becoming a parent. The other took time away due to a disability. Another looks like a person took a gap year off. And so the question specifically was, how do you address this on the resume? And I want to shout out our partner, the Mom Project. I see one of the individuals that commented spoke to the fact that they came to us through the Mom Project. So shout out to that wonderful organization. Noah?
Yeah, absolutely. Such a great question, and I think it's it's something that you may feel, some sort of way about. But I think transparently sharing those whys, if you're comfortable doing so, that's really my best resource, because I think, let's say you haven't worked since 2022, and the last known working experience is that, and that's what your resume. Well, a recruiter looking at that, without having any, because I've seen, career gap from this date to this time, and under those bullet points, just like your relevant experience, took various upskilling certificates, was, you know caring for a family. I think that transparency on the front end is going to at least help bypass maybe an initial rejection, at least have a chance to speak with a real life representative on the other side. Um, it's it's something I face every day as well. I think advocacy for, if you have someone in your corner, let's say a mom project, or something along those lines. But um, I think if it's all a comfort level for you of what you're comfortable sharing. But I think if you are willing to share that, I think it's really valuable to have on your resume, obviously in a professional and articulate manner. Um, but that would be my best answer for that. It's something that, we do face, but being transparent and candid, and I always like something about Career Circle here is being authentic, and putting your best self forward. So that would be my best advice on a career gap. Just showcase what you've been doing in that time off. Most of the time, you're not sitting on your hands. You're doing something to care for your family. You're doing something to upskill yourself, to put yourself in a better position, and I think that is valuable. So I hope that answers your question. I will say, anyone who wants to connect with me on LinkedIn, feel free. We can definitely take this offline, and I'll give you every bit of guidance I have. But that would be my best response there.
Absolutely. Yes, yes, and yes again. That's like $1 million check, okay? You being able to connect with Noah. What? Sherry asked, I was told that a skills-based resume makes it look like you're hiding something versus a chronological resume. However, I feel like a skills-based one would showcase my strengths better. What are your thoughts on that, Noah?
I've come across skills based resumes, and I do like them. I think if it's something, this one's a little more difficult for me. I think a skills based resume is good. It showcases your top skills, especially if maybe there's been, um, maybe been a gap. And then, just so I'm following correctly, if you're comfortable, kind of responding, your skills based hiring, then underneath you would have like your work experience listed there in its almost chronological order. If I'm taking kind of the skills based resume versus a chronological resume.
That would be my understanding
Okay.
of it. But Sherry, you can absolutely give us a little more context to ensure that we're answering your question appropriately. And I don't know if you don't mind, I wanted to add to that question, Noah, if you're okay with that.
Of course.
I think that one of the things that would be really beneficial is doing research on the organization. There are a ton of organizations that are changing the way that they're doing their hiring and are looking more to do skills-based hires versus the traditional hiring process, or looking at individuals more so based on their credentials as opposed to a 4-year degree or that sort of thing. And so doing your research to determine what organizations would align with the skills that you have to bring to the table, I think would be beneficial on your employment journey. Back to you, Noah.
Such a great addition. Absolutely, such a great addition. I think there are a lot of organizations that are, changing the landscape, and then a 4-year degree is something that is not, um, always necessary or needed right now in the flesh. And sometimes there's opportunities out there that are strictly for non-degree holders. So, um, absolutely think doing research to understand, what organizations are supporting skills-based hiring is crucial. I think that's such a lovely addition you had there, Brittany. Um, Kind of back to the resume, Sherry, I think, kind of based on what role. I think a skills-based resume does showcase what value you can provide to that organization. I think it is something as you're applying and getting real-time feedback, are we seeing the traction we want? And that's something where we can come in and tailor and try new things to see if, are we bypassing the applicant tracking system? I would imagine if your keywords and hard skills are in there, getting past that applicant tracking system with a skills-based resume versus a chronological resume, you're probably not, witnessing that barrier, but maybe it's, connecting with the recruiter and getting to that next step. Um, so I would be curious to kind of see what you're, witnessing on your side. And again, always happy to one off and kind of work through the logistics of it and see. But to your point, Brittany, I think it's really great to kind of do that research and see who are hiring. And I know a lot of great big Fortune 500s that are truly focused on skills based hiring. So I think that was a wonderful addition and definitely could help in the future.
And Sherry actually gave us some additional context. She said, I am career transitioning, so I have a job gap, but also no relevant experience for the jobs I'm currently seeking. So we're looking at a career shift as well as a bit of a gap. And so if that gives you any additional insight into how you might respond to the question, she did provide us some additional context.
Super helpful, Sherry. Thank you. Um, I'm a big proponent of truly like saying you have no relevant experience. Sometimes it's hard for me to get behind. I think transferable skills are a name of the game. It's what we pride ourselves with at Career Circle. Now, if you're coming from education and maybe going into an engineering degree, yeah, that's something that is going to be a little more bypassed. But I see, educators moving into project management and things of that nature where it almost be beneficial to truly, think outside the box and find what transferable skills, whether if it's a career gap and you're caring for your family, that takes time, that takes planning, that takes budgeting. There are a lot of things even within certain career gaps, and if you're upskilling as well, for a career transition, speaking out of turn and without truly knowing, but if you're going from again, I'm going to say education into project management and maybe upskilling through various certificate programs, it's hard for me to not believe that there are transferable skills there. So I think it's something that I don't want you to ever, anybody out there, to disqualify yourself or discredit what type of contributor you can be. But again, Sherry, yeah, would love to connect and kind of have a little more thorough breakdown and see if I can help support you.
How you got us together real quick. What do you mean you don't have any relevant experience? Yes. Okay. I love that. All right. Jennifer said, I have a neurospicy kiddo. A neurospicy kiddo. I love that. I love the way that you put that. And so she said she lists some of the skills that she's learned from this experience and would like to know, do you think that that is a good thing or not? And how would you approach that?
Well, I can imagine that patience is of utmost importance. Understanding patience, your probably research on how to um, support that child in the best capacity. So sharing those skills like within your skills section, absolutely think is relevant. Um, maybe do I think you're learning strong foundational skills from supporting the neurospicy, which I do love that is there's absolutely takeaways there because it's something that not everybody is going to experience, and you are you are supporting and you are experiencing this. So I think truly on a day to day of what you do to support, finding those hard skills that every single day, this is what we get to do, not what we have to do, but what we get to do to support. I think is absolutely relevant for showcasing those hard skills. And again, I'm hoping I'm not bouncing around and truly touching on the question at hand. But if there is a little follow up maybe that I'm missing on a piece to that, Brittany, please let me know.
add to this because I had the pleasure of being a mother to a neuro spicy toddler myself. And so, just some of those transferable skills off the top of my head, attention to detail is one. The ability to multitask is another. You have the experience of being on a team of that has been neurodiverse. That's another thing. And so those are just three things off the top of my head that are transferable skills that are relevant to a lot of roles that you may be interested in possibly becoming a part of or connecting with. And so it really is you taking us being creative and being able to speak to how the experience that you have as a parent has helped you to shape those and hone those skills. And so that's just my little take on it, but you can absolutely give us some additional context for us to make sure that we are answering that question to the best of our ability. I'm looking at the time. We have 9 minutes left and so many amazing questions. We want to get to them all, but looking at what time it is, I know we're not going to be able to do that. And so we have time for maybe four more questions, maybe. And so if you want to provide additional context, we'll definitely take that. But I'm going to switch gears for a moment. I see a question from Jorge. Does AI give a good layout for the resume, or do we have to create our own? That's a question specific to the topic.
Um, Traditionally speaking, it should format it in a really readable and formatable resume. I think kind of playing with that and see what kicks back. But ideally, if your prompt is to create said resume for said title at company utilizing these hard skills, it should kick out a nice template for you. I will say, if it doesn't create the exact format or template you're looking for, but has the content there, I think that's a step in the right direction. And we'll just kind of, plug Career Circle. We have templates for various like upskilling certificates and helpful tools that can help you at least format it. And then we have that content already there that we can then move from this AI response and then get it into a proper format. Um, but I definitely wonderful question. I think it's something to play around with and see if the format is something that you find appealing, and then playing around with the different AI tools would be something that I would encourage as well.
And if I can add this, I think that is so important to just make sure that we are using AI to enhance our resumes as opposed to writing it. Recognizing that there are certain organizations that may use AI to determine if resumes have been created or constructed using AI copy and paste. And so just putting that out there as a uh, thought, just some additional feedback. Another question: if I'm switching careers, is it okay to put relevant projects on top if my experience so far doesn't have much technical relevance? And they did put technical relevance because they recognize that you're going to get them if they say that their skills are not relevant. Love that.
Yeah, absolutely. That is where something I think your project scope would fall above that experience. So we a lot of career transitioners, absolutely. So I think kind of based on where you're at in your professional journey, if you are transitioning careers, took an upskilling certificate in XYZ, having that project scope right there aligned to that job that you are applying to versus having a majority of experience that isn't quite relevant for that specific opportunity, I would say incorporate that project scope above your experience, and then just making sure that all of those hard skills and specific keywords for the job description are within your resume. But a wonderful question. I do believe that's where that project scope would fall, kind of above your experience on a resume.
A question that received a couple of times: will having hyperlinks on my resume get it kicked out by applicant tracking systems?
Goodness, tough one. I think applicant tracking systems are very unique, and I think I don't think it's a one size fits all. I would try to avoid any if you're saying like a portfolio or a LinkedIn, gosh, that one I don't want to give you a yes or no answer because I truly believe, um, you see a lot of LinkedIn handles on a resume. You see a lot of portfolios kind of within the marketing space that are there that, they're not getting kickback. Wild fonts, pictures, crazy colors, things of that nature that, would be a flag. But as far as a hyperlink, goodness, that one may be one I need to fall back on.
I think that you
But any
answered
insight
that.
you may have, Brittany?
None. I have none on that. I think that the way that you answered that was perfectly. I think that we recognize, as I said before, technology is always evolving, and so today it may not be an issue, and then tomorrow, depending on what technology is being used in order to sift through applications and things, it may be different. And so, you already said have more than one version of your resume could be very beneficial, and so that would be my addition to that question. Maybe one that has the hyperlinks and one that doesn't, and if there is a
Absolutely.
situation where you're able to possibly reach out to the hiring manager and let them know you weren't sure, but here's two copies of the resume, that could be something that might be beneficial to you to cover yourself. But y'all, we have only a few moments left and time for one more question. So the question is, if I'm switching careers, is it okay to put relevant projects on top if my experiences so far don't have, well, that's the one that we already mentioned, about the technical experience. So I'm going to go to the next one, which is, I've spent my life wanting to work in software engineering, game developing, but I do not live in a big city and I find it nearly impossible to find a job not having 5 years of experience. Any suggestions or ways to get a job in a career field that no longer hires entry level or junior level employees?
I do think this one comes, to your point, probably what you're experiencing is really difficult to maybe from a geolocation. So I think flexibility in nature is always good to pursue your dreams if that is, conducive for your home life and is feasible. For something within software engineering, I think still upskilling education, I think, in my opinion, without having that relevant experience is something for this specific industry that's going to be more sought after. Now, targeting the right opportunities for software engineering apprenticeships, whether it be internships, unpaid or paid, just to have that relevant experience on your resume in concrete, could be another strong suit to pursue as well, is just finding, but to your point, I like quote unquote finding that entry level, and entry level is so um, spread thin sometimes on what truly entry level is. But I think, any flexibility that you have with maybe putting yourself in a geolocation that has more opportunity, if possible, would be beneficial. Outside of that, targeting the correct opportunities from like an internship or apprenticeship. And then lastly, any upskilling you can do with, yeah, various coding camps, things like that, that are going to showcase the hard skills and technical skills you need to hop into that career, would be my best advice there.
Absolutely. We want to thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Noah, for your insight. And thank you, everyone, for joining. Please stay until the end. We have some important information that we want to share with you. We'll be sending you a post-event email, which will include a recording as well as all of the resources we spoke about today. It'll have a survey, which we encourage you all to take. Cannot stress it enough. We want to hear from you. We want to hear the good, the bad, the ugly. We want to hear from you. Career Circle is working on our very own AI resume writing tool, and we want you to be one of our beta testers. If you're interested, please ensure to fill out our survey in our post-event email and write your name and email address. We'll contact you when it's time to get testing. Make sure to like and follow us on our socials to stay up to date on all platform updates. Once again, we thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you all leave here today feeling empowered and ready to utilize AI to the fullest during your job search. We've had so much fun today. Please join us for our upcoming webinars. Our next one is going to be held March 27th, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can view all of our events and register on careercircle.com/events. Thank you and see you next time.